First and foremost, Annie, thanks so much for joining us here on Astro SuperSport. We're going to jump straight into it. All right, let's reflect back at the victory at Wembley recently. I recall your first trophy with Liverpool wasn't that long into your time there. I think it was your second season. And now you're winning a trophy when you're one of the senior players, let's put it that way. Not saying you're old by any means, you're not even 30. But is that feeling a bit different if you think back to your first trophy versus now being one of the sort of guiding members of the squad?
Yeah, I think you never get bored of winning. I think that feeling's always there. When you're in football, you always want to win trophies and things, and I think the feeling when you know you've done that is still the same from my first until whenever my last is. And yeah, but obviously your role within has probably changed. I was still a kind of younger player back then, and still had a lot of stuff ahead of me. But now obviously I'm a more senior player, like you said, and trying to look after the younger players and trying to help them. So of course your role changes, but that that feeling of winning never kind of leaves you.
Does it make you feel a little bit happy on the inside, maybe a bit of a heartwarming sort of feeling when you look at these kids winning as well? I mean, we've seen the quotes around Klopp's kids. That's what it is, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it gives you a massive sense of pride. You see them working hard and training every single day. You try and help them as much as you can. You give them advice. You give them encouragement as well. And I think then when you see, that come in a big stage like Wembley in front of 90,000 fans, and the young lads not caring about the surroundings, they just want to play football, then it gives you a sense of pride. I think it gave the coaches and the manager a sense of pride, but I think also the experienced lads, I think we all sat back and thought, okay, these lads are ready to step up, and I think they showed that, and I think they've showed that in the other games as well. And with the amount of injuries we've got just now, I think we need that. And like I says, the results we've had over the last 4 or 5 weeks wouldn't have been possible without these lads. So credit has to go to them. Credit has to go to the academy for getting them ready like this. And we hopefully that continues, because we'll need them from now to the end of the season as well.
Does it make you feel a little bit old sometimes, in a sense whereby these kids, they're Gen Z, right? So their sense of humor and what they get is just a little bit different, the slang that they use or what they see on TikTok. Do you watch these kids and think sometimes, I don't understand some of the things that you guys are joking about in the dressing room?
Yeah, it keeps you young, that's for sure. But that's the beauty of football. That's why I think we all love football. That when I was a young lad, some of my closest friends were in their 30s and things like that, and age in football doesn't really matter within a changing room. You all just get on together. You get you join in the banter in the best way possible. And of course, I'm a bit older now, a bit more mature than some of the young lads, but you can still be silly.
Do you do the TikToks with them?
No, definitely not. No, you'll definitely never see me on a TikTok, that's for sure.
Right then. But of course, we're reflecting back again all throughout the years. How has the club in itself, the culture, how has it changed throughout the years?
Yeah, look, there's been a lot of change, obviously within the squad. Obviously the coaching staff and the manager hasn't changed in a long time, but the squad has, especially last summer there, was the biggest change we've had. A lot of players left and a lot of, a good few players came in. So it's always about adapting, it's always about evolving, it's always about, trying to get the best team on the pitch. And it's just about being a part of that. You kind of dip into it. There's probably, since I came to the club to now, there's more expectation on us, because we've shown that we can, win the Premier League. We've shown that we can win the Champions League when before I came, that was, it was a long time ago that we'd kind of competed for these things. So the expectation's there, but I think when you play with a big club like Liverpool, the expectation's always there to win. It's just that we've been lucky enough that we've got a squad that has been able to produce that.
Well, you talk about change in the last summer. I think the biggest change will happen this summer, actually, with the manager, of course. I think it took a lot of fans by surprise, but was it a surprise to you guys? Were they signs? How was the news broken to the team?
I think it was a surprise, but I also think on the flip side, I think we knew it wouldn't last forever. We knew the manager wouldn't be here forever, and we knew his time would come at one point. And he would have enough. You know, obviously he says he needs a break, and he needs a rest and things like that, which is his decision. And you know, obviously what he's done for this club's been incredible. But we knew this day would come at one point, and us as players have to, you know, we have to try and finish this season as strongly as possible for ourselves, for our own ambitions, but also to try and give him a good send off. And then we'll have to deal with whatever happens in the summer. You know, new manager. And whatever way he wants to play and things like that, and get excited about that. So the manager will get a good send-off, we know that. He'll get the send-off that he deserves from the fans and from the club as well. And then, but football moves on quickly. You know, the summer will have to move on quickly. The club can't be left behind, and it's up to us to try and continue the success and the foundations that he's built with this club.
Well, you talk about giving him a send-off. I'm sure you're aware of people saying a potential quadruple, you know, for Jurgen Klopp as the perfect send-off, right? Was there ever talk of that in the dressing room, trying to deliver a quadruple? And if so, do you think he'll change his mind?
We never speak about it. We always go game by game, and that's why we look to win every single game that we're in. But there's no talk about, you know, winning all the trophies or things like that. We just want to win the next game. And if we
do you think he'll change his mind, though, if you do? If somehow a quadruple does happen, do you think the manager might just change his mind?
No, I don't think he will, no. I think he's pretty set on leaving. I think he's made that clear. I think that's why it's been announced. And, I don't think there's any way of him doing a U-turn on that.
What's your personal favourite memory of the manager, then?
There's been plenty. I think he's. I always remember his kind of pre-match speech before the Champions League final that we won, and I think it was pretty special. Obviously, the speech before the Barcelona turnaround as well was pretty special, and I think they're always the ones that kind of stick with you and stay with you. And I think that was probably his most impressive moments when if us as players look back on it, and how good that kind of gave you extra motivation when it wasn't really needed.
Do you remember that first meeting with Jurgen, or that first phone call, and your impression?
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, I remember it clearly. We didn't speak about football a lot. He more spoke about what type of person I was, what family background, my upbringing, and things like that. And he tried to get to know me as a person more so than a player. I think he knew the player he was getting, obviously with all the analysts and things like that of how much background checks they do on signing players. So it was more about the person, and I think we just shared stories about our upbringing and things like that, and got to know each other on a more personal level. And then we were good to go, and try and make a success out of having each other as manager and a player.
Right, just a final few for me then. You mentioned before one of the hardest players you've ever faced was Eden Hazard. What about the hardest player to face in training against one of your own teammates?
Probably Mo. Usually we come up against each other. He's on the right, I'm on the left, and we always kind of laugh the whole way through it because we try and beat each other, but it's always competitive, and we always want to get one up on each other, so I'd probably say Mo.